folks. It is Mrs. Johnson with the Acro Wisdom channel. One more time tonight. We are talking about yield harvest yields, because I told you all that I would calculate that for you. It is easier than you might think, as long as you have a couple of pieces of information. You will see that I took things from the last couple Excel videos, specifically ones from like here, not there, and here and stuff, and I moved them over here. So like the total seeds and the desired plants, numbers. Now currently these are totally estimates, and I will at some point update them. I'm just trying to get all the information all together neatly before I make a master sheet of all this information to have, and I'll show you all how to do that once I get enough videos made to where I, one, actually write down the information that I want for next year, and two, you actually have that, so then I can show you how to move data around in Excel, from a master sheet, which we've kind of already talked about, but I digress. Let's see. So total seeds, desired plants, successions. So the one thing I will show you specifically in Excel is how to, I mentioned in one of my last videos that you could pull data from other sheets, for the sheets that you're working on. So in order to do that, you would pull a formula, start a formula, so equals, and then go into your sheet that you're looking to pull data from and click the one you want, and then click the cell that you want and hit enter. So now when I go up to that cell, it says equals successions, exclamation point, L1. And so I can copy that all the way down. Successions L1 or L5. Successions exclamation point L13. And so I can do the same thing for all of these. And I can go in here, hit equals, go over to successions, and all the desired plants numbers. Why is it? Oh, that's why it's being right. Because I don't want to copy the whole data. I just want to copy that one. And so then, now again, I can autofill that same formula all the way down. The only thing that it does is moves in the same direction you drag it. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So if this is M2, when I left click it and then get that little plus button to pull up, and then I click and hold and I drag, then it drags the formula down. So if this top one is M2, this next one is M3, and then M4. Now, if I drag, I can also drag it different directions. So if I highlight these two, because they're both the ones that I want from the successions page, I can then do the same thing and drag it. Ooh. If I drag it to the right, it's going to copy. This is L and this is M. It's going to copy N on the next one because it's moving to the right, because I drug it to the right. Now, you'll notice that that's not the numbers that I had there because it copied this row enough seeds instead of the successions row. So what I can do is I can come in here, I can change that really fast. O2. There we go. And then I just drag that down. Ta-da! There, showed you some Excel stuff. Let's see, now that those are all transferred accurately, the average yield and the volume and the yield rates, I just looked up. The reoccurrence is also something that I estimated. These are all vague estimates off Google searches because I am doing a homestead garden, and that means I'm just feeding me. So I just need a rough estimate of the things that I'm growing, so then I can know that I'm growing enough to where I don't have to buy things like tomatoes and corn and peas at the store. Because that's the goal of my farm or my garden is to not grow or not buy vegetables and grow fruits and vegetables. Anyway. And this is why I'm calculating yield, because if I want to grow enough fruits and vegetables to feed myself, I should know how much I'm planting before I even start planting things. So let's do some math. Desired expected yield. So let's see. Now, desired plants, doing one succession, and so 5 plants multiplied by average yield. Now that's 2.5 cups. Now you'll notice that I have occurrences. So that's 2.5 cups a week. Because my yield rate is a week. Now, I added the reoccurrence column because some of these are in weeks. So if I wanted to find out the total for the year, I would just multiply it by the amount of times that I recur it. So I'll actually copy that header. Desired expected yield annual. And desired expected yield once, right? So then I can yield average by desired plants. Oh, by desired plants by yield average, right? And then I just drag it down. Drag it down one more time. Now, a lot of these are in pounds, some of these are in units, and I can desired yield annual. We're actually going to update this formula because to add successions, because right now we have desired plants times yield average, which is what I get when I harvest once, harvest the whole field once, because my yield averages are per week per plant, per week or per plant. And then reoccurrences if it happens. So the only one that has a reoccurrence is the basil because you harvest it once a week. With one succession. And then you have the successions, which will come in handy down here when it comes to the cut and lettuce and the carrots and things. So we're going to add that and then copy the formula all the way down. And so what this gives me, rather than, right, if I talk about my carrot yields, right, I'm talking getting 100 carrots every time I harvest versus 400 carrots every year or next year versus the corn, I'm getting 70 pounds of corn once a year. So once and the annual numbers are the same because you harvest corn, at least in my region, once a year. Things like tomatoes, those are the same, even though those harvests are spread out. Talking about like from beginning to end of each harvest. What am I talking about once? Now, these numbers are useful. Yield harvests are often used to estimate how much cost you're putting into a crop or how much money you're going to make from a crop. And so you would take these annual numbers and you would multiply them by price. You would do some dimensional analysis on them. So if you're getting, let's say if we talk about corn, right? If you're getting 70 pounds of corn in a harvest and it's $1 a pound, you're making $70. And then if your cost is 50 cents per ear of corn, you can estimate that out. Or if it's $3 per plant, you can estimate that out. I can do another video talking specifically about that, doing some price dimensional analysis on that. But this is the very concept or very start of harvest yields, and this is how you get into something that you can then do dimensional analysis on to move your units around. This is nice when you're doing a home garden because my goal is to feed just me and myself. So what I will end up doing with this data, these two, is looking at how much I'm making in a year and going, hey, I'm only going to get 2 pounds of the Marvel Stripe tomatoes and 40 pounds estimated of the black cherry tomatoes, the Italian tomatoes, 8.5 pounds, which is also sauce tomatoes, a type of sauce tomato. The other sauce tomatoes, I'm making 10 pounds. So then I can look at that and go, okay, cool. Am I actually going to use 10 pounds of sauce tomatoes or should I grow less? Am I going to need more than that? And so I can make that decision for me. You can make that decision for you. And when it comes to pricing, you can take that one step further and go, is it worth it to grow this much corn at this price with this cost? And find out kind of estimate where you are on the books with that. Now I have this last sheet or this last column, total seed yield once. So I essentially would copy this row, the desired expected yield once, but instead of using my desired plants, I would use the total seeds. And so desired plants, no, not the desired plants, the total seeds multiplied by the yield average. Pull that down. And kind of what that gives me is a maximum range of how much I could feasibly grow. And that makes my life a little easier when it comes to going, oh, hey, like I could grow 200 more carrots. Am I really going to eat 200 more carrots? Maybe. But like the beans, I could grow 24 pounds of beans if I really wanted to. Is that a worthwhile endeavor? Right. The tomatoes, I could grow 27 pounds of tomatoes in the Marvel Stripe tomatoes. Is that worth it? Is that too much? Is that not enough? And then I can kind of estimate things from there and make decisions. So estimating yields. When I estimate yields, I always do the low side of the yield average. So like the basil, it was like half a cup to 1 full cup, if I remember right. Right. The only thing that I don't usually underestimate is things that come in whole units. So radishes, carrots, heads of lettuce, heads of cabbage, pumpkins. Those are like you expect to get one. There's not, you can't really grow like half a pumpkin or half a carrot. Um, they're just like smaller pumpkins and carrots. Uh, and at least for me, I don't really mind how big my carrots are. I don't really mind how big my radishes are. Um, and so I don't really need that in pounds. But without further ado, that is a this is a video on calculating harvest yields. And yeah, I think the only thing that might be a little confusing is this part and making sure that you remember that these all have these measurements to them. But I think for the most part, it's okay. So if not, let me know. Comment down below. Keep me posted. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I will talk to you soon, probably next week. Without further ado, have a great day.